Breaking news, Google is shutting down local service ads platform. The dashboard you log into, the bidding controls you use, the reports you pull, all of it's going away. If you're a roofer in the US, you are in the first wave. Yep, it's coming in August. Now, I've seen a lot of panic posts about this, and some of them are right, some of them are wrong. So I read the actual documentation line by line. I'm gonna give you the real version, including the one change almost no one is talking about that should genuinely concern you. So what is actually happening? LSA, Google Guaranteed, local service ads, whatever you wanna call it, is moving inside of Google Ads. It becomes a specialized performance max campaign built for pay-per-lead goals. Let's start with what is not changing, because the fear-mongering out there is getting this part wrong. So you still pay per lead, not per click. Your ads still serve only on Google Search and Google Maps, same positions as before, not YouTube, not Gmail, not display. That is written into the campaign type. Your campaign stays keywordless, so it's associated with the services that you offer. Your Google verified badge transfers automatically, and here's a nice one, you no longer have to re-verify your insurance and your license. Shout out to Google. And your past lead history comes with you, customer contact details, threads, recordings, but you should export all of your historical data as well, because some of that will not transfer. So if somebody told you you're going to lose all your leads and your badge, it's not accurate. But there are some concerns that we'll talk about. Here's what you should actually worry about. Manual bidding is dead. So the headline, and it's buried in the middle of the documentation, they're getting rid of manual bidding, right? So it's being deprecated. Setting a maximum cost per lead like you did in LSA, that control is gone. So let's think about why that matters for a minute, right? You're a roofer in a competitive market. You can tell Google, I'll pay up to $200 per lead, not $300, not $400, just $200. That guardrail has always been there. It's now gone. So you're moving to automated bidding in a system that decides what your leads are worth. And it gets worse if you run more than one service. So you do roofing, you do siding, you do GC work. Vertical level target CPA is also going away. So if you've been running all these different services under one campaign or different campaigns, you've been able to isolate different target cost per leads and different ceilings based on what the jobs are worth. They're collapsing that into one and aggregating it. So that's not great. Your roofing target, your gutter target, they get averaged into one number. There is a fix, and you need to do it though. So split them into separate campaigns, one per vertical. That's the only way to keep them separate. Next, we have the budget question. So let's talk about the budgets, because this is where I've seen the most confusion. Google's converting your weekly budget into a daily average budget. The math that they publish, your historical average weekly budget divided by 7, and your monthly spend is capped at that dollar amount times 30.4, which is the average number of days in a month. Now run that out. Weekly divided by 7 times 30.4 is roughly your weekly budget times 4.3, which is almost exactly the monthly cap LSA already had. So on paper, ceiling doesn't move, right? But here's my concern, and it's a real one. Google's language is historical average weekly budget. It's ambiguous, right? Is that the number you set or the amount you actually spent? Because a lot of you, and you know who you are, set that weekly budget at $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. Not because you intend to spend it. It was a visibility signal. We're going to throw money at Google, wave it at them. Come take my money, because we want leads, right? And you end up spending $3,000 or $4,000, maybe $6,000. If Google is importing the number you set, and you're now inside an automated bidding system with no maximum cost per lead, in a platform that is built to spend its budget, is a very different situation than an LSA account that quietly underspent every single week. LSA never chased your ceiling. Performance Max is designed to. If you're not careful, that could be catastrophic for some people. I'm not willing to bet a contractor's cash flow on the interpretation of one sentence. So again, pay attention. And here's the part that makes this genuinely dangerous. What replaces your maximum cost per lead? Is it a target cost per lead? Those are not the same thing, and they're not even close, right? A maximum is a wall, nothing gets through it. Target is an average, which means individual leads can come in at $400, $600, $800, and the system will still keep doing exactly what you told it to do as long as the average lands somewhere near the number. You went from a hard ceiling to a soft suggestion. Now, stack one more thing on top of it. Google's own documentation says to allow up to 2 weeks for migration to complete and for performance to stabilize. Read that again. 2 weeks. Every advertiser in this transition has just been told in writing that weird numbers are normal to sit on them still for 14 days. So picture it. Your spend jumps, your cost per lead looks high. Your gut says something's wrong, and the official guidance says, let's expect to give it 2 weeks. It's not a $100,000 invoice landing on a Tuesday. That's quieter. That's a contractor who budgeted 16 grand a month opening a bill for 55 because now 14 days went by and nobody reacted. That's a cash flow event that's not favorable. And for a company running thin, a cash flow event like that could be an existential crisis. So do this now. Set your budget to a number you're genuinely comfortable with, right? Before migration day, not after. Ignore the 2-week guidance where your money is concerned, right? Give it 2 weeks before you judge lead performance. Give it 0 days before you check your spend. Stay on top of it. The lead quality question, right? Who defines qualified? A couple years ago, you could manually dispute LSA leads. They got rid of that at the end of 2024, like mid-fall. Then it was like automatically, we're going to go ahead and dispute them for you. What happens now, right? I want to be careful here because I've seen bad versions of this argument. Pound for pound, LSA has been the absolute champion when it comes to lead quality, fixed cost, and volume in a lot of cases for a lot of people. Homeowner needs a roof, homeowner calls you. Performance Max does not carry that same reputation. Now, some people are saying that you're about to get flooded with fake form fills and disconnected phone numbers. I don't believe that's going to be the risk, but I would still hedge against it. But let me tell you why I don't believe it. All right, the junk you're used to seeing from Performance Max typically comes from Display Network, YouTube, Gmail, dumping garbage into your website form, and that's not what this is. This campaign type has no website forms. You get charged for calls, messages, and bookings, all routed through Google's own system on search and maps only. So a disconnected number can't call your phone. Here's what I'll say though. Google historically has made it very easy to convince you to enable a recommendation, and they usually associate it with a score like, yo, dude, you're 78% optimized. You want to be 95? Click here, we'll do these things. I've also seen it in opt-out fashion, like, hey, you have 7 days to opt out of these recommendations or we're just going to auto-apply them. And that's where the goofy shit starts to happen, right? That's where they start saying like, well, you didn't opt out, so like we started showing your ads to the Display Network, and that's where you start getting those garbage leads. I do see a scenario where that happens. So if you're in that portion of the account, just be very aware and intentional about what you're doing and not doing. And if you got questions, you could always reach out to the great team at Ascend Digital. So here's the actual vector, and honestly, it's worse. Google decides what counts as a lead and what you get charged for. And the system is now optimizing to produce leads, not roofs, leads. So ask yourself what a machine does when you tell it to maximize phone calls and you take away its maximum cost per call. It finds you more phone calls, real humans, real phone numbers, real conversations. Solicitors, guys looking for work, somebody who wants a gutter cleaned, a homeowner is 11 months from needing anything, a tire kicker, gathering his fourth estimate. Every one of those is a legitimate call by Google's definition. Every one of those is billable. It's a lead. None of them need a roof, right? So it's not manufactured spam. That's a widened definition of the word qualified. And to me, that's more dangerous, right? Because you can't point at any single lead and say, well, this one's fake, I should get a refund. Each one on its own looks defensible at worst, right? It's only in an aggregate that you see it. Your lead count is up, your cost per lead is flat or down, your dashboard is green, like all the vanity metrics look fantastic, and your close rate has fallen off of a cliff. So you got lower margin, lower profit, but you got a prettier report, right? We're not here for pretty reports though. We want to make the money. So I want to be straight with you. I do not have post-migration data. Nobody does. It hasn't happened yet. Nobody's had the chance to look under the hood of what it looks like after the transition. But this is the mechanism that I'm watching for. Watch for it with me. The dispute process. Good news is that the lead manager keeps the lead feedback form and the charge status, so you can still flag a bad lead. Here's what's missing though. Google's migration documentation does not describe a lead credit or dispute process on the other side. And remember, we got rid of the old manual dispute flow where you submitted and a human reviewed it in 48 hours. Back in 2024 with the automated lead credits. So now an algorithm decides what can count as an invalid lead, not you. So you've got a feedback form, but no published guarantee about what happens after you submit it. This is concerning. I'd like to think that Google's going to do the right thing. Call me a cynic though. And connect this to what I just told you. The dispute process was the pressure valve, right? It was the one place where your definition of a qualified lead could override Google's. Bad lead comes in, you make your case, you get your money back. That valve is no longer there, right? So, which means the same company that decides what a lead is worth and decides which leads to send you also decides whether you get refunded when they're wrong. Every one of those three decisions used to have a human check. Now none of them do. Document everything, every bad lead, every date, every call recording. If this goes sideways, the contractors with records will be the ones who get made whole, right? Let's talk about a little bit of housekeeping. 4 things that will bite you if you don't know them. Number 1, your performance reports do not migrate. Past spend, impressions, clicks, ad level reporting, it's all gone. Your leads carry over, your reports don't. Export them, please. Number 2, the The Better Business Bureau callouts being deprecated. That may mean more to some people than others, but go to your campaign's assets tab and pick at least 6 other structured callouts. Business hours, specialties, payments methods, etc. Use the space that they give to you. Number 3, do not touch your Google business profile around your migration date. So they're going to more closely align and feed information from the Google business profile over to your LSA account. And it's stated that, any significant changes, it'll be 24 to 48 hours that'll go under review, which likely means that your ads are not going to run. Play it safe here. You're going to get a notification 14 days out and 7 days out as per Google that the migration has taken place. Any type of changes that you need to make then. Don't make as the transition's happening, because you're likely going to put yourself in the spot. Your business name, address, and hours, they all sync in one direction from the GBP into the Google Ads. So any type of significant change, which typically is going to be name, address, primary category, would trigger a verification review. But again, they haven't stated those things explicitly. It's broad, ambiguous language. So just be careful. Your campaign can pause for 24 to 48 hours while that's reviewed. So don't let your office manager clean up the Google business profile the week that you migrate. Another thing worth noting as they connect the Google business profile and the LSA more closely is this is a great opportunity to go into your services, since that's what's going to help trigger what you're relevant for in search on what was formerly LSA in the new Performance Max setup. If you don't have your services fill out, if you don't have explanations, you're trusting on an algorithm to ultimately help define how relevant you are. So the less context you have, the less helpful it is for them and the less likely you are to be served. And 4, expected dip. Google says to allow up to 2 weeks for the migration to complete and for the performance to stabilize. So when your numbers get weird in week 1, don't panic. You don't got to blow up the settings. You don't got to fire your marketing company. Give it some time to ramp. I will say have a heightened level of awareness as far as the quality of leads that you're getting, because that would be, again, one of my concerns. The timeline, this is when it hits you. August of this year, phase 1 begins for the U.S. home and storefront service advertised. So roofing is on that list by name. So is plumbing, HVAC, electrical, lawn care, pest control. Later this year, expands to service area businesses without a physical storefront and accounts with custom bidding or booking configuration. So note that a lot of roofers run as a service area business. You may be in the second wave, not the first. But if you have a brick and mortar, you're definitely in the first. 2027, everybody else, including non-US accounts. And you'll get a warning. Your account administrator gets an email 14 days out, a banner in the dashboard, a reminder email 7 days later, and a confirmation when it's done. Make sure the person receiving those emails still works at your company. This happens all the time. And make sure that you're the administrator on the account. That's just good hygiene in general. But if you're not getting that information and the person that is receiving them isn't acting on it, you're going to get yourself put into a spot. So don't let that happen to you. And one more thing, right now, you cannot create a new pay-per-lead campaign inside of Google Ads. If you need to launch a new one before that changes, you still go through the g.co/local services. So here's your action list before migration date. 1, set your budget to a number you're actually okay with spending. Number 2, export every report out of the LSA dashboard. Any data we can get out of there, get it out. Even if some of it's going to transfer, who cares? Better be safe than sorry. You got everything to gain, nothing to lose. Number 3, if you run multiple services with different target costs, split them into separate campaigns. 4, confirm your admin email is a real person who checks it. 5, freeze your Google business profile. No edits near the migration time. Then, after migration day, we're going to audit the leads daily, not lead count, lead quality. We're going to listen to the calls, check the forms, track what percentage became booked appointments. We're going to give it 2 weeks before you draw conclusions. And of course, there's exceptions to every rule. So if you notice things are way out of whack and you're hemorrhaging money, obviously pump the brakes. But assuming things aren't terrible, give it 2 weeks, and I think after that time, you're going to have a better understanding of what it'll look like the following month, the following year, etc. Look, I don't think it's the end of the world. The pay-per-lead model did survive. Your bad survive. Leads will survive. Search and maps only survive, not the display side of Performance Max, so I love that. But count what you're handing over. Google decides what the lead is worth. Google decides which lead you get. They decide whether you get refunded when they're wrong. Google's deleting historical data that you need to prove any of it got worse. That's not one change. It's 4, all pointing in the same direction and landing in the same month in a direction that is not favorable to the consumer. So that combination is how contractors get hurt. Not necessarily overnight, but quietly, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, death by 1,000 paper cuts. So you don't get paid in leads. You don't get paid in impressions. You get paid when a homeowner signs. So don't spend your money on metrics. If you want us to look at your account before the migration date, you could reach out. Go to www.ascenddigitalexperts.com. We'll be happy to chat with you. We'll see you on the next one.